Let us see next how we can share our this particular main view model to our two fragments that we have. We have a home fragment as well as the main fragment. So currently this main fragment is using the main view model. So let us go back to our home fragment, and in the home fragment let us try to share this particular view model. So we want to share this one main view model with our main fragment as well as the home fragment. So instead of the view model over here, I'll just say I need a main view model over here, and also over here I'll just pass it as a main view model. And once we have this one, we can also, you can either use by whatever we have by view models, or you can also make use of this view model provider, this get main view model, and then provide this particular view model. So it's the same thing that we are just doing it in a different way. So this is just a KTX extension that we are making use, but if you are not using a KTX extension, you can directly implement a view model using a view model provider. So let us get that particular function. So I think I can just copy that particular function from the main fragment. So let me just grab this function from here and paste it over here. And I don't have this currently, so let me remove this one. And when I get this particular name, so I think I'll just log it over there. So log the D and just provide the tag over here, and I just provide this IT. So now I can call this from here, get the database name, and I'll just call that particular function from here. And then we can just home fragment. And okay, so let me set it as the logcat filter by the home fragment, and then we'll just go and run our application. And if that view model was able to share between these two particular fragments, then we should be able to get that database name over here, right? So just wait for the installation to complete, and I think the app is running, and then we can just go to the home fragment. Yeah, so which is able to share the particular one view model between the two fragments. So there was nothing so much special thing that we did over here. We just added that particular main view model with the two different fragments, and it's working fine. And the problem over here we can say is that when we add this kind of the view model between a two fragment, it will actually go and create a new view model every time we initialize it. So let's say we from this main fragment we are actually going to the home fragment. So when we go to this particular fragment over here, it will create a new view model for us. So that way it's creating a multiple instance of our this particular view model. So let's say in your case you may want create a new instance of the view model, or you may want to share a same instance of a view model and you don't want to recreate every time a new instance of a view model on each or in every fragment. So if you want to share a same instance of the fragment or same instance of a view model throughout these multiple fragments, then what we can do is we can do a little bit of a tweak over here. So what we can do is let me try to just log first of all. So let me log the D, and let me get that particular value. So I'll just set tag, and I need to get a view model dot, I need to get it to string. So this will actually print out that particular view model or all of its instance, so we can see what is the instance ID. So we want to print out the instance ID over here, and I think this one I'll just set it as a fragment to tag to the fragment. And if I go over here and I'll also change this one to the fragment. So with just a one fragment, this particular tag, I can filter out both of this particular fragment value. And here when I get that particular database name, let me also try to print out this particular view model value, the instance value. So this will print us the instance value too. So what we will do is we'll just run our application and let us try to see what is the instance value of on our both of the fragments. So fragment, a home fragment and the main fragment. So in this way you should get a different instance. So this is the instance ID that we currently have, which is a 7280. And if I navigate to the home fragment, you will get a different instance ID. So this means that it is recreating the instance every time we are launching a new fragment. So if I go to again home fragment, it will have a different instance ID. But if you come back to the previous model main view, the main fragment, then you have a same instance ID. You can say this ID and this ID is the same, which means the instance of that particular view model is the same. But when we are navigating to the another fragment or the home fragment, it will create a different instance for us. So you can see every time it's launching, it's creating a different instance ID. But in the main fragment, you can see it's getting the same instance ID because we have added it to the backstack. So it's not going to recreate the instance for us. So how do we share the same instance? So for that, what we can do is there is a simple thing. Instead of owner to the disk, I can just add the instance as the activity. And it says I need to wrap it as a not null. Or else I think instead of why it is not saying as I need to wrap it. So instead of wrapping is not null. So this is a quite messy. So why not we just replace this one with our by provide. So let me just make use of a KTX extension. So this is a really messy code. You can see it may be a bit difficult to understand. So what we will do is we will make use of the KTX extension and make it more concise. So private val and a view model of a main view model, and by we say of view models, by view models. So we need to get this particular view models, and then that should be fine. So I can just remove this one from here, and now we want to share it. So instead of our view models, we can just say activity view models. So that is the one that we need to get it over here. So activity view models. So same thing we have to do because we want to share this particular view model in the main fragment. Also we want to get the same instance. So instead of this particular so I think just need to duplicate that one and comment it out in case you want to refer it back. So I will just say as activity view model, and then just remove this one. Yeah, okay, that should be fine. So I can also just add this comment over here in case you want to see the difference. Okay, so we got that one. Now we are using an activity view model instance instead of our view model. So this will provide the activity which is related to the activity view models, not the current this fragment view model. So let's go and run our app, and we will see that. Let's go to the logcat, and let us wait. And we have this 7288D over there. And if I go back to the home fragment, you will get the same instance. And even though if we are navigating back and recreating that particular fragment every time, you can see both of our fragment is getting the same instance ID of our view model. So that's great. So if you want to just share a view model between the two fragments and want to have a same instance between that multiple fragment, you can just make use of activity view models instead of this particular view model. So activity is related to our main activity that we have, right? So the main activity is hosting both of our fragment. We have this particular the fragment. You can see that the fragment container is inside of our main activity, and this particular two fragment is related to our activity. That's why we can make use of our activity view model. So the activity itself cannot last, right? It needs some reference, or it needs activity reference to hold its values. So that's why we say that we need the activity view model over here. If you want to read the documentation, you can just go and control and click, and returns the property delegate access parent activity. So it is related to the parent activity. So I think that's all. You can just go and read more of the documentation if you want. But this is how simple way that we can share our view model uh, within a multiple fragment. And also, if you want to share the same instance, then we can do it using activity view models. If you just want to recreate every instance every time, then you can just make use of the view models instead of activity view models. So I hope you learned something new over here.